WWE, the custody of a child will be determined in a match. Oh, I knew he was going to do that.
Hulk Hogan is a jabroni Hollywood blonde, but my boss, Mr. McMahon, is not jabroni. Get a horse at time, fool.
Put that cigarette out.
Will you stop? Woo!
What's up, Drunk Marks? Welcome to this week's episode of Drunk Wrestling History. I am your designated host, Adam. With us is the non-failing, always entertaining drunk wrestling historians themselves.
This is Eddie, Woozle Wuzzle.
And this is Scott. It's Ghetto Blaster time, fool.
This being Drunk Wrestling History, how are we reaching our drunk levels tonight?
I've reached my drunk level.
Oh,
Liar. False.
Okay. All right.
Sad.
Anyway, I've reached my drunk level. Don't listen to what Scott has to say.
Buzz level. Buzzed wrestling history.
Okay. It's been some Jaeger. It's been a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Right now, I'm drinking 21st Amendment Hell or High Water. See, I told you I was
Okay,
drunk.
maybe you are drunk.
All right. It's a 21st Amendment Hell or High Watermelon beer, which is my favorite seasonal beer. Oh, fuck. Got on my
All
hands.
over the equipment.
All on the iPad.
Oh, dude, it got on the iPad.
It almost hit your Gorilla Monsoon figure.
Oh, dude, it looks like a porn video I saw once. I'm not going to talk about that, but
Oh, Lars, yeah. So hey, let's throw it out real quick before we get into the episode. A big thank you to Tim on Twitter at a chair shot for your Gorilla Monsoon figure that you have stationed on your microphone.
I don't know who that was.
And a big shout out to at Drew Vensel, a good friend of the Fully Posable podcast. Drew Vensel for hooking me up with the Fan Central Bobby Heenan Elite figure for my microphone, putting together the greatest duo all time of commentating. That would be the great Gorilla Monsoon and the even greater Bobby the Brain Heenan. Thank you.
I'm going to tweet at a chair shot right now to thank him for this.
I did that already, but it would help if you did it as well.
Yes.
Are you doing it right now as we record?
Right now, yeah.
Maybe you are more drunk than I thought you were.
What am I doing? I'm not doing anything important.
The excellence of execution in podcasting.
That's it.
No, that's not it.
Oh.
We're the exact opposite of it. What is it? Not us.
Sorry, it's a drunk show.
It is. What do you expect, folks?
Yeah.
Incoherent.
Yeah.
Incoherent guys trying to be funny.
Thank you.
I won't snap this time. I think I snapped out from that said gimmick. All right, so we just jumping into it, or
Yeah, let's go.
All right, so we're calling this the Vincent Kennedy McMahon Failures episode. A lot of ventures. Pretty much, these are the ventures that are outside of wrestling. That
Well, outside of WWE.
okay, yeah, outside of WWE that did not turn out the way that they should have. We got a full list of them. There's going to be one obvious one, which we will definitely get to. But also, as I was going through these lists, I didn't even know about some of these myself. So, shoot, I didn't make a formal list comparing what the two of you had. But
We don't expect you to. It's a drunk wrestling podcast.
No, I did expect him to. I actually texted him and asked him to do specifically that. And
Come on.
Until right now, I thought that had been done.
ladies and gentlemen, this is called balance.
Adam, you're not on the payroll. I totally understand. It's okay.
But are any of us?
Well, free drinks and whatnot.
Buy a t-shirt, whatamaneuver.net.
We can pay Adam to make lists for us. Copy and paste, man. It's a hell of a job.
All right, let's see. And I don't even know if these are on in chronological order, but all right. First off, let's go with the WBF.
The World Bodybuilding Federation. Wow.
What was he thinking? That was kind of even back then, this was like 92, 91, 92.
Yeah.
What was he fucking thinking?
Yeah.
Like he thought he could do a weekly TV show of bodybuilding?
Yeah, Vince really likes buff dudes. So he's like, I would just like to see a show of nothing but buff dudes. Like screw these Sam Houston type characters, right? And these Ron Bass overweight type characters. I just want a show of nothing but muscle-bound dudes.
Yeah, exactly. It was really, oh my God, it was really bizarre. Like, I just,
They had no personality. They were just bodybuilders. Like,
well, Lex Luger was the only one with any personality.
Well, okay, come on.
Well,
Yeah.
I didn't
Okay.
say huge personality. I said with any personality.
He was the shiniest piece of crap in the toilet. Like, come on, dude.
Right, he was the polished turd.
Yeah, he was the polished turd. Exactly.
Shanna's behind you, sneaking off with the Doritos, by the way, right now.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just like, that just seemed like ill-advised from the get-go.
Oh,
Like,
it was even back then.
yeah, like someone's gonna watch that, and then okay. So I don't know if you know this. So they did a pay-per-view, right?
I remember that,
I think
yes.
only one. The entire pay-per-view is on YouTube. Why it's not on the network, I can only assume is because Vince wants to cover it up.
Exactly.
He doesn't want us to see this.
So
Bobby-
the one person that actually watched it recorded it and put it up on YouTube.
Yeah. Do you remember who were the commentators on it?
No.
Vince and Bobby Heenan.
Well, of course,
And I
Bobby
got-
being the company guy.
And I just watched the first couple minutes of it, but I got to watch the whole thing because I'm hoping Heenan is like Heenan on commentary, right?
Like just ripping these guys.
Yeah, I hope, but I doubt it because like you can't really like how do you bury guys in that?
Well, I bet the entire thing had more charisma than Rock and Robin doing the America the Beautiful at WrestleMania 5. It
couldn't have
as
less.
a callback. It could. There's no way it could have less.
Yeah. Mean Gene is like the announcer of it, right? So he just like brings it, comes right in there with WWE personalities. He's not trying to separate it from that whatsoever.
And total company guys too. Mean Gene shilling the crap out of it. Bobby Heenan giving a little bit of color.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
Like why? Even if you're trying to cross promote it to your wrestling fans, why would they even be interested in this?
Yeah, yeah. What's Adam doing?
Dirty things.
Okay.
Oh.
Adam's over there he's got his phone up to his. He's got one headphone out, and his phone up to his ear.
I'm just checking some pronunciation of some of the stuff here. I didn't want to get the audio.
Okay, all right. I was just curious.
He's just a common man working hard with his hands.
Studying during the show. Yeah, it was just terrible and stupid, and they ended up. I think they did the pay-per-view. The pay-per-view was a fucking bomb.
Yeah, it way bombed. Yes.
Right, and then I think they shut the whole thing down after. It was only about maybe a year and a half.
And what was the end goal? Like, you were just going to have these guys and try to form some sort of personality around them so they became characters.
Yeah,
I guess.
definitely. Yeah,
But what was the payoff? A pose down?
I think so.
Oh, dude. Like,
well,
an
that
arm wrestling match in the WWE is more entertaining than what the WBF offered us in terms of a payoff.
Well, you remember how great the Ultimate Warrior Rick Rude pose down was,
Boy, who could forget that?
right? He was trying to build this on the success of that.
That went so well. Hey.
I don't know, dude. I mean, yeah, you're totally right. Like, what do? I guess you just turn them in. Well, I guess it could be like the Olympics. You know, like the Olympics are all characters now,
Yes.
which they totally got from Vince,
Sure.
right? I guess it could have been. I don't know.
But none of these guys had personality. Like, there was no way to sell these guys as, like, people would want to watch them.
Right,
As
right.
a character
Yeah.
and not just some muscle-bound guy. Like, what's the worst thing that could happen to the WBF? A steroid scandal? Oh, wait.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that would be a scandal.
Which, by the way, is also on the list. Ico Pro.
Oh well, we might as well move right on to that.
Yeah. The muscles or the supplements.
The supplements.
The supplement line that WWF distributed. The great Ico Pro, which was seen, that logo, the black and white logo, Ico Pro, was visible on Monday Night Raws, on Saturday Morning Wrestling. You had the banner hanging from the rafter. It's in that one Bret Hart little vignette that he does, the big Ico Pro logo back there.
Yeah.
They push the crap out of Ico Pro.
I think that banner hanging from the ceiling is really the legacy of the WBF and Ico Pro, because
Yes.
you would see it if you go back and watch any of the pay-per-views. Like, go watch it in your house from '95.
Yeah.
and Ico Pro's hung up.
It's sitting up there, yeah.
Now, I didn't remember this, but I was looking up the WBF, and I believe he shut the whole thing down after that pay-per-view, the ill-fated pay-per-view.
Yes.
But he still had the TV show, right? He had a TV slot that he had to do something with. So it basically became a infomercial for Ico Pro. So kind of every week until the end of his TV contract.
Just kept pushing the crap out of Ico
Yeah,
Pro.
they would do an infomercial for Ico Pro.
I wonder what the ratings were for that.
Oh, God. I mean...
They're probably more than what Impact gets.
Oh, I'm sure they're more than one Impact. Oh, I guarantee you, if there's a way we could look it up, because think about this. I know you're making a joke, but I guarantee it's better than Impact gets. And
Well,
I'll tell you
kind
why.
of making a joke.
Well,
But
kind of
I
making a
think
joke.
it's actually true.
No, totally. I guarantee it is, because if you look at ratings across the board back then versus now, everything was higher because you had, 25 channels back then?
Right.
Right? So people would have watched that.
Yes.
And they would have maybe
Way
like-
less selection back then.
Right. And they would have like Lex Luger come on to promote it. Right.
Right.
So I think Impact gets like 250,000 viewers a week or so.
Right.
It's really low. I would not doubt that the WBF Ico Pro show got double that.
God, how bad was your life? You're sitting through an hour-long Ico Pro commercial
Yeah.
instead of doing something else.
Right. I don't know what its time slot was.
Oh man.
I want to say it's like Saturday morning, but I really don't remember.
Well, and then we
Absolutely.
get into the steroid scandal.
That was a Vince failure.
It
Well,
was-
no, that was actually, we shouldn't say that because he did win the trial. But it was a big fuck up.
It was the Ultimate Warrior and British Bulldog lost their jobs
And their muscles.
and their muscles to the point where people thought Ultimate Warrior was a fake when he came back at 8.
Right. Yeah.
Like, who's that guy?
Yeah, don't you still get people like maybe once or twice a year asking you, like, didn't the Ultimate Warrior die
died.
back then?
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah.
no, he's dead. But
He's
didn't-
dead now,
Right,
but he didn't die
back then.
Right.
Right. They're like, oh, I thought they put a fake Ultimate Warrior in there because he was dead back in like 93. It's like, no, he got off steroids.
Yeah, and Hogan had to testify, and it was, oh my goodness. Yeah,
It was
Vince
a
really took it
disaster.
in the shorts on that one, dude. That was all bad for the WWF back then, and I guess that was their comeuppance from all the success that they had in the 80s. Right, they had to kind of pay the price. And that-
Pendulum swinging the other way.
Exactly, yes. And then coincidentally, you had your huge downturn from like 93 all the way until really the kickoff of the Attitude Era.
Until Austin 316, kind of.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it
In
was a good 4
mid-96,
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
the steroid scandal and the downturn and the WBF, all these kind of bad things hitting Vince when he had such a great run of success. And look, this episode is about Vince's failures, but he's had way more success than he has failures. But because this is a drunk podcast,
I don't know. Has he, though? Because, like, when I started this, I was like, the failures are outliers, but then there were a lot of them, and I was like, his big success. I mean, because I think you can only count the WWE as one thing, right? You can't count the Attitude Era as another one, and the 80s as another
Well,
one.
I
think
count
it's
WrestleMania maybe as his biggest.
Okay, so
success.
that's called the WWE in general.
Yeah.
1 and WrestleMania 1. Or even say like his big 4 pay-per-views. So he's got 5 big successes.
Right, or just his vision of where he wanted this to go with cable television at the time.
Yeah.
And seeing this as something to where instead of territories, let's just absorb and suck all those up and just make one power company, essentially, where we take the best of the best.
Right.
Just to have that vision, I would call that a huge success. Because he could have just gotten into the mindset of all the other promoters at the time and just been happy to run a territory. But
Yeah, that's
he
true.
was outside the box with it. But again, this is not about Vince's success or his vision. This is about how he fucked up.
You're right. Fuck him. Let's bury him.
Let's throw him under the bus.
All right. What's next?
You pretty well. I mean, along with that, you also brought up the steroid scandal.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and would you say you won? Radio WWF.
Whoa.
I guess that wasn't on your list.
that was
huh?
not on my list.
Do you
no.
remember that?
Not really.
It was
no.
It was a radio network, and Jim Ross was on it.
Okay.
I don't remember ever hearing it. I don't even know if we had it. I
What
don't know
year
where.
did this run?
It says
Well-
1993.
Okay. Yeah.
93?
Yeah. And that was it. That was it. And that was all.
It only lasted like 6 months.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, yeah. Jim Ross was a radio host. I don't think it was like a 24-hour thing. Like it wasn't like listening to.
So it was like Gary Radnich having a show for like 4 hours or something?
Yes,
Like,
and I believe they would. I think you could listen to pay-per-views on it.
okay.
And I remember them doing commercials for it. I remember seeing Jim Ross with the headphones like we have on because he's
Okay.
doing radio.
Okay.
And that's kind of all I remember. I remember the promos for it, and
Okay.
it was sort of like gone. Like it was just like you'd watch Raw, and they'd be like, "Oh, listen to Radio WWF," and then after 6 months or so, you never heard anything about it again.
Wow.
But I think it was like they were interviewing guys, and they would maybe like the Ross Report would be on there, so Jim Ross would be talking about supposedly quote unquote backstage stuff.
Okay.
You know, things of this nature, and then
Okay.
I think the pay-per-views were on there.
And it ran for 6 months.
6 months.
Wow.
I thought it was longer than that till Adam just said that.
Wow.
But I
And this
remember
was
it
in
was short.
93.
Yeah, 93.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and I have no idea if any of you guys listening to this ever listened to that, like if it was in your market and you actually listened to it, tweet us, because I would love to know where you even could hear it.
Or even if you still can. Like, are there episodes on YouTube or?
Oh, that's a good
I don't
question.
remember this at all.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a good question.
Okay.
All right.
We've got the Wrestle Vessel.
Do you remember the Wrestle Vessel?
That was WCW, right? Their cruise?
No, that was WWF's.
WWF's cruise.
Yeah.
I totally remember the name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. But it wasn't like Jericho's cruise where they had a ring on there. It was like you just get to go hang out with fucking like Scott Hall and like watch him eat brunch.
Oh. Well, actually kind of sounds like fun.
I mean,
I would hang out with Scott Hall.
look, if I'm hanging out with Scott Hall, that's not what I want to watch him do. I imagine Scott Hall's a lot more fun than eating eggs.
Okay. I'd want to watch the Bushwhackers eat or Yokozuna eat.
Right.
Scott Hall, I'm probably wanting to have back then. Probably have a beer with a guy.
Right. I'd like to
Yes.
watch Shawn Michaels with the rat,
Like Sonny.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels and Sonny and like the
Right.
Captain Suite.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe Edge along. Yeah, I gotcha.
Right. You with edging tonight.
I'm a big fan of Edge.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, it was like the original cruise, and I think they only did it for like 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
But
And this would have been in like the mid 90s then.
it would have been like Access at Sea,
Okay.
right? I think
Okay,
it
I
was
can see
sort of
that.
the same thing. Like they probably had some kind of displays and shit like that.
Okay.
But I don't think there were any matches. I definitely don't think there were any matches because I remember when Jericho started his cruise, he said it was like they had to bring in like an engineer and figure out how to put a ring on a cruise ship
Oh, okay.
because it had never been done.
Gotcha.
But yeah, you just hang out and like maybe like Shawn Michaels is in the casino, a little like maybe he had a couple pills and he's having a glass of tequila. He's all fucked up, but he's probably like treating the waitress shitty.
Yeah. Burying Shane Douglas, these things.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that was, I mean, I guess it's a little. It lasted. It's hard to say what's a failure, but I feel like it lasted 3-4 years. It's not a great success,
Yeah, but I mean, you look at maybe other guys wouldn't have had that idea.
right?
Had that not happened way back then, because it was the first of its kind.
Okay.
And I think WCW did something like it, and now bands do it. Jericho's doing it. So maybe it was a failure, but it also could have been an innovator.
The '80s does it.
Yeah.
It was the
this is true.
first. Yeah, Chris is in the other room yelling to us, like she doesn't realize we have headphones.
We're taking questions from the audience.
Yeah, it was the first wrestling cruise ever.
No, themed.
Theme? Oh, the first gimmick cruise?
Yeah, like Scott's at bands and shit.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe
it's
it was.
It's the first one I'm aware of. The Disney cruise might have been before it.
No, Disney Cruise didn't come about until the 2000s, right, Adam?
I mean, even if that was the case, I mean, that was an expected part of the atmosphere. But I mean, nowadays they have the Star Wars cruises and the Avenger
Yes.
cruises. That I would consider that a Disney themed cruise as versus a Disney branded cruise. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the AVN should be on a cruise ship.
Isn't it already?
No, it's in Vegas. I think it should move to a cruise
I
ship.
mean,
Vegas should move to a cruise ship.
I mean, in theory,
That's a hell of an idea.
in theory, aren't there cruise ships that have that activity?
Any cruise ship is what you make it, right?
Okay. Since you started this, AVN does a cruise ship. Who are you hanging out with in the cruise ship casino?
That's a good one. To be honest, I don't really know many current. I would have to say Kelly Madison.
You know what? I wouldn't have thought of her, but that's the right answer.
Thank you.
I'm not even going to weigh in because I don't have a better answer than Kelly Madison.
Motorboat.
All right.
All right. Let's see. Okay. Again, I'm going.
Okay, Ed is a little more drunk than I thought he was.
Oh my god. All right, I'm okay. Go ahead, Adam.
Again, this list is completely out of order in timeline, but just comparing with the lists that I got from both Eddie and Scott, I think these would work hand in hand, even though geographically not located near each other. WWF New York, which eventually became the World, as well as WWE Niagara Falls.
Yeah, but let's not forget that WWF New York or WWE New York, WCW did something similar in Vegas, and they opened up a restaurant there that also failed. A lot to do with WWF buying WCW, but I think WWF New York was really just kind of ahead of its time.
I don't think it was. It's hard to say if it was ahead of its time.
You think
but
like something like that would do well today?
I don't know. I think it's so specific,
Very niche.
very niche. It was in Times Square, right? So the real estate is, you don't get more expensive real estate than that.
Or maybe they were too late to the party. Like if it was like the 80s, it would have been like Studio 54, but WWF.
Well,
themed.
Times Square in the 80s, I think, was just like porn theaters. So it would have been much cheaper to run.
perfect.
Them. Yeah, it would have been perfect.
To your point about the WrestleMania 5 episode, Elizabeth could have shown up.
Elizabeth could have shown up. Sonny could have gone there way too late.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah, Victoria could have gone there, and it wouldn't. No one really would have known about it, but it would have been pretty fucking cool.
Right.
You didn't get to go there, right? Because by the time we went,
I did not.
So your first time in New York was
04.
WrestleMania 20.
Correct.
It was gone by then.
It was gone.
I was there New Year's Eve 2002 and 3. Right?
Gotcha. It
was
was
still
there.
there. It was really fucking cool. I watched Raw there, so they would have a Raw watching party every night.
Yep.
Or every Monday.
And they would have superstars show up, and they'd pan over to WWF New York for the watching parties.
Yeah, I don't think they were doing like a televised watching. Maybe it was by the time it was starting to wind. No, it couldn't. I don't know. Maybe it was starting to wind down. I don't know. But there were no one was there. I didn't see any cameras. None of that.
Okay.
But we were there watching it. Unless we were watching SmackDown. I don't remember now.
Well, they definitely,
So
like
long
during
ago.
pay-per-views, they would always pan over to WWF New York.
You
And
know-
there would be like the big show hanging out with fans. Like,
Maybe it was
pretending
only
to show
pay-per-views. Maybe Raw, they didn't do that.
Okay,
is why.
okay.
But I watched Raw there. It was actually maybe the first time I ever drank Jaeger. I had a shot there.
something. Oh,
And
that's where it started.
yeah, it was just one shot. You know, I didn't really drink much back then, but I had a shot of Jaeger. And I was like, oh, okay. I like
This
this.
is fun.
Yeah, it started a little lifelong love affair.
Right.
It was cool, dude. It had like a store, like a mini version of the WrestleMania store.
Okay.
Right? It was, I don't know, it was like the size of like an airport gift shop or something.
Okay.
But it was cool. But I guess there was like some kind of weird financial mismanagement and some weird shit went on, because I know that when they kept their lease and they subleased it, I believe, to the Hard Rock, but then they like sued the dude who ran the place. It became a whole big thing, but it was only overall, I would definitely say it was a failure. It was a cool idea. Maybe it would have worked.
Not managed right.
Yeah, it wasn't managed right, and I think it was definitely in too expensive of a place.
Yeah.
It
And
might
maybe
have-
not ahead of its time, maybe too late for its time.
Maybe.
I think earlier in the Attitude Era,
Yeah,
it would have done really, really well. Much like the WCW restaurant.
right. And I also went to the Nitro Grill.
I did too.
My first time in Vegas, my 21st birthday, I went there.
Okay.
And I got the Macho Nachos.
Nice.
Maybe something like that, it could have done better. I think it had too big of a space.
Okay.
It was too big for what it was going to be. Too expensive to run. I think it could have done better somewhere else, or even like a slightly less expensive touristy area like Hollywood Boulevard.
Okay.
It might have done okay, or like Pier 39 in San Francisco, something like that. I think they just picked the wrong place for it, but obviously there was some kind of, it just wasn't managed correctly.
Gotcha.
But I mean, yeah, bottom line is it was a big fuck up.
Right. But at least you got to go.
I got to go.
Before it became a fuck up.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then we went to the Hard Rock when it had turned to the Hard Rock, but WWE still had the lease. And then there was Niagara Falls,
Yes.
which I just went to Niagara Falls for the first time last year. When I went to Toronto for 18, we were going to go there, but we slept in too late because we went to the strip club the night before.
It happens.
Then when we got married in Toronto, we also slept in too late. So twice I went to Toronto, didn't make it to Niagara Falls because I nached the night before and didn't make it. But I was reading about Niagara Falls on Wiki or something, and I saw that there was a WWE Niagara Falls, which I guess was basically just like a store.
Like a gift
That's
shop.
all it
Like
was.
a gift
Yeah.
shop, right? Yeah. Which it's like all the stuff there is like touristy ass gift shop. It's actually a perfect thing for it, but still the same thing. It's just a little too niche, I think.
And I think they had autograph signings and things there, but it's not WWF themed anymore. But I understand they still sell WWE merchandise there. Not
don't-
a huge part of the store, but they have some WWE merchandise in there.
Okay, if that's there, I missed it. I didn't see that last year.
Okay.
Now I feel like my trip last year was a failure.
Maybe you were still drunk from the night before.
Yeah, I don't remember.
There you go.
No, I didn't get drunk that night. I got drunk on Thursday.
Sad.
Yeah.
Must have been a hell of a night, though. Yeah.
It was a good time, man.
Yeah.
Niagara Falls is really cool. And you know how I feel about Toronto. It's my favorite city.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. London's a close second. Hello to our UK listeners, by the way.
We have the German trainer Achim Albrecht, also known as Brackus.
Gosh. That guy was supposed to be a big deal.
He was going to be a huge deal, right? He was going to be Hogan.
You would think by watching the vignettes that they hyped him up and hyped him up. Did they end up just sticking him straight into the Brawl for All? Is that what happened to him?
I think I don't remember. Adam can tell us because he's got the Wikipedia, but I think so. I know that they did promos.
Yes.
And then he wrestled on like that UK pay-per-view.
Rampage?
I don't think Rampage, but one of those ones was a UK exclusive.
Okay.
And he like lost to Goldust in the first match.
Oh,
something
why would
like that.
do that after hyping a guy so much?
Yes, at
Which,
that
by
point,
the way, also Brawl for All part of it.
yeah, Brawl for All's coming up. I don't know, dude, but Brackus was like, you watch those promos and you're like, he's going to be the biggest fucking thing. This guy is crazy, ridiculously huge.
But we should have known better
Guy's
from
just
seeing.
jacked.
He was huge,
Yes.
dude. And then it just fell apart.
We should have known better from watching Ludwig Borga.
Exactly.
About 4
And-
years
and-
earlier.
and you
What,
know
are we
what?
talking like an Emelina treatment?
And you know what?
Almost, yes.
I was going to put Ludwig Borga on my list, and I was like, oh no, Brackus was way worse.
Way worse.
Yeah.
Because didn't he end up going to ECW?
So I think they brought, if I remember right, they brought him in. He jobbed out a few times to Goldust or whoever. Then he went to ECW because I think they were
man.
like, he's not ready yet. You know,
Yeah.
we put him on TV too soon. Then they brought him back, and then I think they put him at the Brawl for All. And then I think he got fucking hurt.
Like
And,
most
like
of the
in
guys
round
in
one, right? Like I think the first round he got hurt.
Oh, man.
And from what I heard, like they thought he was gonna be like the guy to whip everyone's ass, but I think like Savio fucked him up or something.
Oh, dude. Well, they thought Dr. Death was going to be a big deal in that thing, too.
Right, and he got hurt too.
And Bart fucking Gunn
Yeah,
ran rushshot over the whole thing.
right. This would be a good 205 jive.
It
later
would.
on.
It
so
would.
maybe we shouldn't go too much into it.
Yeah, let's hold off on that.
But Brackus, have you ever heard a story that Brackus OD'd in like Tahoe?
I did hear that, yes.
Was that from me or did you hear it from someone?
No, I think
legit?
you told me this.
Okay, yeah. So, okay. I don't know if any of you guys listening to this have ever heard this. I don't know if anyone can Google it or look it up. I've never done it, but so back in the day, it was like a friend of a friend of a friend type thing. Was in Tahoe. An ambulance came to wherever he was staying, and he kind of was like, there was a whole commotion. He was there, part of it. And he's like, what's going on? What's going on? And they're like, oh, some wrestler OD'd. And they're like taking said wrestler away in the ambulance. And they're like, oh, what's his name? And he came back and he said the guy's name was like Brocco or something like that. So I got the second, like third hand.
Yeah.
But the name was something like that, Brocco or Brocca or something like that. I was like, dude, it's Brackus. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if this was Brackus. I don't know. I can't confirm any of this, but this did coincide timeline-wise with Brackus disappearing. Like this, because this would have been like 97 or something.
You have like insider information on
Right,
this,
like
dude.
I heard this, like I want to say like 2-3 weeks after we stopped seeing Brackus.
Okay.
I heard like this guy was like, this happened to me 2 weeks ago. You know, something
Wow.
like that. Yeah, so I don't know
Okay.
if it's true, but that's what I heard.
Well, there you go. Now
Or that's what I deduced from what I heard.
I'm willing to say that's what happened to Brackus. OD'd in Tahoe.
Brackus OD'd, you guys.
Hey, who hasn't? In Tahoe.
Of all
I have a
places.
story that's way not as bad as ODing, but it's fairly embarrassing. But
Oh, good. Is it about you?
yeah, it's about me, but I'm not going to get into it. Let's put it this way: I woke up the next morning, didn't know where I was, freaked the fuck out, and it turned out I was in my own hotel room.
Good. Well, let's chalk that up with Adam being slimed.
Also, the night before, I talked to Vinnie Paul from Pantera on someone's phone. Go ahead, Adam.
Okay, only because I didn't really look into this, but would it really be considered a Vince failure? It's Linda McMahon's Senate campaign from 2010.
And 2012.
And
It's absolutely a Vince failure because you know Vince was all in on it.
Funding that shit.
Right? They put,
Sure, honey.
I want to say $50 million into her first run.
Oh, man.
And I think close to that the second time around. So I want to say he sunk nearly $100 million. I know she was running for Senate, not him. But it's, you know, it's
pretty much
their,
treating
it's,
it as his product.
it's
then.
their
Okay.
money. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay,
I'm sure
that
like,
makes sense.
I mean, maybe they don't have a joint bank account. I don't know. But, you know.
Afterwards, they're like, guys, we need to find a way to recoup this money. Let's start some sort of streaming service.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Any ideas?
Yeah, their $100 million went into getting her elected to Senate and
Which-
failed.
Which may have turned into the network to recoup that money.
Yeah. It was, it was crazy because I was in New York. She was running in Connecticut.
Okay.
I was in New York in 2012, right after Hurricane Sandy. That's when I got sent there for work, right?
I remember that.
So, you guys don't know this, but I work for the power company. When Hurricane Sandy hit New York, I got sent over there to help turn the lights back on, basically. So I'm there so this would have been, we got there like the day before Halloween. So we were there like so this 2012, we were there right in the deep part of the election. Every fucking minute, whenever I was in front of a TV, was a Linda McMahon for Senate commercial. It was the funniest damn thing. Like, I could not watch the TV. I'm in a bar and the TV's on. It's Linda McMahon for Senate. It was funny as hell. And then she lost. I think she lost I think she got it was she lost like the Fiend lost to Goldberg. You know what I mean? Like the dude who I forget who it was that beat her. It was like Blumenthal or somewhere. Like hit her with like a fucking jackhammer.
Butterbean.
Yeah.
All right. I think. All right. This is from Scott's list. We actually had this discussion to see is it a failure or not. It is the Raw tribute episode the day after the Chris Benoit weekend.
Oh fuck.
Right? I mean, how could that not be a failure?
No, that was a big failure.
I mean, granted, when they released the episode,
Right.
they didn't have all of the information about
Right.
what happened. But still, it is such
Once everything came around, a lot of things got exposed. Yeah.
Yes, it is such a black eye on WWE so much that good luck finding that episode of Raw.
Yeah,
Anywhere.
I was just going to ask you, that's not on the network?
No,
Yeah, that makes
no,
sense.
dude, no way.
Well, yeah, because the next episode of SmackDown, right? Vince started the show off.
Yes.
And he said...
With
said-
with the information that has just come to light.
Yes.
And he was like,
Yeah.
you're never going to hear about that guy again on the show.
Nope.
Yeah.
That name is dead to us.
Right.
Like, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that was the end of it. Good luck finding that episode anywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah.
I hate to chalk that up to a Vince failure, but the way that they basically filleted that dude during that whole show was like, when it came out later, what happened.
24-hour turnaround. Jeez.
Well,
yeah.
yes, exactly. And that's all it took was one more day to realize what exactly happened. And you're like, oh man, like, oops.
I mean, in his defense, they couldn't delay taping Raw
What-
for a day because it was a
I
live
get
show.
it. Yes, and
So
that's
it was-
why
they were a bit of a victim of bad timing.
100% yes.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think you can call it anything but a failure.
Yeah, such a black eye that you've deleted it from your history. In addition to the name that you were worshiping the entire show.
And it was a good show too, right?
It was a great show.
Because they had that one, and there was another one. Maybe it was after Owen died, where it was like no storylines. It was
No
just
storylines.
wrestling matches. And
That's it.
All the matches. Was that the one where Shawn wrestled Ray?
No,
Or
Ray
was that
wasn't
after
there
Ed-
yet.
Or maybe
dude.
it was after Eddie died.
That was after Eddie died. I
Maybe Ray
believe.
wasn't there yet. Ray was there.
When Eddie
When
passed,
Owen
yeah.
died?
Oh no! When the Benoit thing. Sorry.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Owen. I
No.
apologize.
After Benoit, that might have been when Shawn wrestled Ray.
I believe so.
And they had a
I
killer-
don't know for sure, but I think you're right.
It was either that or the Eddie show.
right.
Killer match. They had a great match. It was actually a really, really good episode of Raw.
Because it was just about wrestling.
Right. And
Yes.
then by like late that, even maybe, being on the West Coast, even maybe we kind of
Yes.
found out while
Yes.
it was,
And we're like
yeah.
screaming at the
'Cause
TV
it was,
like, no.
it was like,
Stop
right.
the show.
Yeah. That was, yeah.
Bad timing, but still.
Yeah.
Just all around
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. Benoit. Oof.
I can't even talk about the guy.
Best submission hold in the business, but
people
But it's
should have
terrible
tapped.
because you can't really talk about what's the list of all the wrestlers who have entered the Rumble #1 and won the whole thing. You can't really talk about that because you have to include a name on the list.
Yeah, that's why I say number 2
Yeah.
is just as good
that's
as
true.
number
They
1.
don't put that in the promo for the
For
Rumble.
for the Rumble,
Right.
any general statistics. It is also unfortunate because if you remember from the very first episode of Drunk Wrestling History and just how we got into it, one of my all-time favorite matches was TLC 3 between
Yeah.
the 4 teams, which included Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit. Unfortunately, I don't get to talk about that much because the
You
obvious
can talk about
atmosphere.
it. You can talk about it as much as you want.
Okay, I can. WWE doesn't talk about it as much as they should with just the long-lasting legacy of TLC. What the hell just happened over there?
That's a drill.
Oh, I thought someone
Sound like a drum roll almost.
or someone farted something fierce. Okay.
It happens.
No, I mean, when you take Doritos into the back room. I mean,
That's what happens exactly.
By the way,
it's funny. You always hear people talking about should Chris Benoit be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. It's never going to happen.
I've had enough of that.
I have too. It's never going to happen.
Every fucking December, Twitter asks two things: is Die Hard a Christmas movie, and should Chris Benoit go in the Hall of Fame?
Right.
And the answer to both is the Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Chris Benoit should not go in the Hall of Fame.
No, and he never will.
No, he won't. He never will. And honestly, it's like a silly question to even why even talk about it, because it's not going to happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if he should or shouldn't.
Yep.
It's not happening. It shouldn't. That'd
trying
be
to
stupid.
trying to make the argument of it was outside of wrestling. There are elements of those events that had to do with wrestling, and also, it shouldn't.
If you want to put him on the Hall of Fame, what you do is you do it quietly and put it on the website. Because I'll tell you what, you announce he's going to the Hall of Fame. Nobody else that year is going to want to go in the Hall of Fame with him, right? Nobody's going to want to share the stage with Chris Benoit.
Nope.
No one's going to want to fucking induct him, right? Like you can't. You couldn't even do it. You couldn't even get the people in the arena to do it. Like a lot of people would be like, "Oh, I'm StubHubbing my ticket that I already bought."
Yeah,
because Chris Benoit's going to the Hall of Fame. It's just not realistic that it's going to happen.
I'm sure that there's a fan base that wants it to. But
Sure.
from a WWE standpoint, he left such a stain on the industry when he did what he did,
Right.
that it will never, ever happen. There's no chance.
Yeah.
Not into the WWE Hall of Fame. He might make some off-the-wall Hall of Fame, but it certainly won't be the WWE Hall of Fame.
No, hell no.
Not at all.
No. All right, what's up next?
On a sweeter note, WWF ice cream bars.
Why did they have to go away?
Can you really call it a failure, though? Those are around for like 10 years.
Yeah, but why did they have to go away?
I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense to me. They were still selling on ice cream trucks. They still had them in stores. People raved about them so much that CM Punk included them in his pipe bomb promo.
Yes.
How?
He made a t-shirt.
Yes, he did. How do you
Quick
let those
chance
go
to
away?
step away and grab one.
Go for it.
Oh, okay.
Can you get me a beer while you're up?
Yeah.
Grab me whatever out of that refrigerator. Whatever beer, I don't care.
So, a quick side note to where Adam is going right now. I brought over 5 of the new WWE ice cream bars that are more like an ice cream sandwich, but as a nice callback to the WWF ice cream bars. In the history of ice cream, there's no better ice cream bar ever. It's the WWF ice cream bar with the cookie, the ice cream, and the chocolate layer. Then, now, and forever, it will always be the best of the ice creams. And here's the best part.
Back one.
What?
In this fridge or the back one?
No, the freezer, dude.
Oh.
Yeah, they're in the refrigerator.
Who puts their ice cream in the
ice cream.
refrigerator? Will you stop? It's then, now, forever of ice cream. There's never been a better bar, ever. There's still not a better bar. And back then, there were no better bars than the WWF ice cream bar. It's the best ever. I don't know why they had to stop. They were so good. I had a hard time finding them in around 2006. I think they actually got discontinued around there, too.
Yeah.
Our local ice cream guy that drove around in the ice cream truck, he had them on his truck. So I went out and he had them, and I was like, "Oh, dude, let me get 2 or 3 of those." He goes, "I only have 2 left." I go, "Can you get me a case?" And he goes, "Really? You want a case of these?" I was like, "What do you need as a down payment?" I want an entire, it was like 24 in a box. He goes, "There's 24. And I go, "No problem. Give me all of them." He goes, "Well, I need some sort of down payment. I have to order those." I'm like, "What do you want, $20? Yeah, give me $20. It'll be like 30 when they get here." "No problem, dude." I gave him 20. That was on the honor system. I just handed the dude $20 bill.
Yeah.
Because he was a regular guy.
Right.
Came back around a week later. I went out to see him. He had my box of ice cream. I filled the freezer with him, dude. It was like one of the happiest days ever.
It's the happiest you've ever been.
Oh, dude. My oldest daughter, who at the time I think was like 5.
You were
4 or
happier than
5.
you were when she was born.
I was happier than Dad was married when I had those ice cream bars in my freezer, dude. It was fantastic. Alana was eating them, my oldest child. Shannon was eating them. Here's the best part. Every single ice cream bar in that case was Kane.
That's the best part? That's.
What are the odds of
I
that?
thought you were going to say I could see where you were going with every single ice cream. I thought you were going to say Macho Man.
No.
Kane.
They were all Kane. And
You got fucked.
Oh, dude, big time. Yeah, here I am hoping. All these guys are on the box, right? And it's a different card all the time. I think I still have the Eddie Guerrero little card that came with it in my mirror.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I got a couple of different cards, but every single cookie was Kane. It was
Badass.
awesome. So Adam is off to grab the reinvention of the ice cream bar, which I'm thrilled that they brought him back. Which, by the way, I bought a case of those too, and that's where these 5 came from.
Thank you.
So Ed has a beer, and Adam, can you crinkle the wrapper into the microphone?
Oh, yes.
This is this is not the 4-pack of ice creams that you can buy at retail. These are like your ice cream truck or ice cream van or liquor store variations of the WWE ice cream. There it is. You heard it. That's the wrapper. That is the single pack WWE ice cream.
Hold
that
on.
is
Somewhat
incredible.
millennial. Gotta do a quick selfie with this shit.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes. This greatly ties into my
So
pick of
okay, so you said 2006 was when you got the box of them.
the box. Yes.
This is not a Failures. They made those for 20 years.
Right, but why did they have to stop?
I don't know, but I don't think you can call something that went on for.
There it is.
I don't think you can call something that went on for 20 years a failure.
That's
Well,
sweet
but
and pungent.
for
right
it
off the
ending-
bat.
I've known people who didn't live 20 years.
But look, ask anybody that's a fan of ice cream.
Yeah.
Ask them what the best bar of all time is. If they were alive in the 80s and 90s, I can almost guarantee they're going to, if you remind them of those, they're going to say the WWF ice cream bar.
So I'll call
And
it,
then they'll say whatever happened to those.
so I'll call it a success. They had 20 years of the best ice cream ever.
Yeah, but they ended. That's the bad, why did they have to end?
I don't know.
Okay, I didn't know this. So, I mean, it doesn't say what wrestler would be on there. They just had the general picture.
Right, so the color picture on the front shows John Cena and Becky Lynch, and then it shows a
A
ice
bar,
cream sandwich.
a sandwich with Roman Reigns on it. But
Yes.
but like package doesn't indicate what's inside.
Correct.
Okay. As of this taping, we've got John Cena sucks.
Oh,
John
you got a Cena?
sucks.
So sometimes on the other side of the sandwich, there's another.
Hell fucking yeah, Becky Lynch.
There you go.
There we go.
Sometimes you get two different.
By the way,
Sometimes you get two
I
of the
like
same.
Cena. Whatever. But yeah.
And so I mentioned the cane earlier. How every bar in the case was cane.
Right.
My first 2 of those that I had, John Cena was on both sides. And I thought I was cursed again.
Ew.
But then Peyton opened one up and she had Macho Man and Becky Lynch. I'm like, okay, we're good.
Very good.
But this is Adam is taking a selfie with the ice cream sandwich.
Oh god, me and food pictures.
And so here goes his first bite with what is now a WWE ice cream sandwich. He's so happy, dude. It's the best. He's so happy.
It's a good dessert to what we've been eating tonight. That's actually really good.
Yes.
I'm eating mine
Oh
after
shoot, that
this
is
episode.
really good. I mean, for something that's frozen per se, and for ice cream sandwich, that's actually good cookie texture or whatever the layer.
And you never
is.
had the excuse me, you never had the original.
No.
Okay. There you go. So this is Adam's first foray into WWF or WWE ice cream.
Definitely not the first time I've eaten during a podcast, but like for the sake of context.
Hey, you know what? It's a drunk
I'm good.
podcast. You got to eat.
Yeah, no, he was eating during the Andre duty story.
Mini. I love it.
Get
All
the
right,
goddamn list back.
Okay, let's back up there.
Okay.
Wipe that ice cream off your face, too.
Hell no.
Put that cigarette out.
I mean, you got Brackus with Brawl for All. Let me see. NWO in WWE from 2002.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's actually a very, very disturbing way of introducing them with the orgasmic Vince McMahon talking about
Injecting.
injecting poison. I'm gonna kill the WA, and oh, it feels so good. like, okay, way to make that Attitude Era push on that promo.
But how cool was it that they timed it with no way out?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
It was
Yes.
perfect.
They put the NWO logo over it. That was
yes.
great.
over the
That was really cool.
one of the good things that came out of that.
Yeah, I definitely can't argue that. But look, the experiment of the NWO under the WWE umbrella, it just didn't work out.
Right.
I think they really tried to capture lightning in a bottle again. And they were maybe the first ones to try to recapture it because a lot of people have tried to do it since. You're always trying to find that next big thing.
Right.
And we all know the NWO was, after Hulkamania, probably the next big thing, along with Austin 316.
Mm-hmm.
But you just couldn't, you can't recreate that magic, right? Once it's there and it happens, You can't light the match again on it.
Right.
It's not going to have the same feeling.
Just like the concept of ECW, the great
Yes.
hardcore thing.
Agree.
They tried to revamp it in WWE. Paul Heyman even called it like this is going to die a horrible death. As to how long it was going to last, that was
Nailed
up in
it.
the air. But then also in TNA, they brought them there as Extreme Violence or EV 2.0.
Yes.
First off, mouthful, and then why?
Yeah. Yeah. It's trying to reheat or reboot something. And a lot of times, as we've seen in wrestling,
Just because TNA was the platform for more when competing with WWE in its prime per se, as the wrestling industry versus the entertainment industry that WWE was.
Right.
They tried to find Fountain of Youth there. It just did not work out.
Yeah.
No, and that's the problem too. Is One Night Stand in 2005 was very special,
Yeah, it was.
right? Because it was
It's one of the best pay-per-views ever.
it really is
Fantastic.
because it was meant to be a standalone moment in wrestling history.
Yeah.
One pay-per-view and you're done. They did it again, and it was okay. It wasn't as great as the original. And then the second one is what sparked the ECW relaunch. And it just, you knew they were just reheating it.
Right.
It didn't have the same organic feel that ECW had. And here we go on an ECW tangent. We were talking about the NWO, but it all ties together in that it's really hard to
Sort of
take
the
something
same.
that was so special that you're trying to reboot or reheat, and that just does not work, as we've seen so many times in wrestling. It just doesn't pan out for the
Yeah,
best.
yeah.
And that was really the NWO in 2002 under the WWE umbrella. Thank goodness we got Hogan versus Rock. That was a dream match a lot of people wanted to see. You were there. It's one of
was
the
there.
greatest moments in wrestling history.
Yeah.
It gave us that, if we got anything from it, but ultimately, failure.
And I think it was a timing thing too. I think it would have worked better, like, I guess 10 months earlier, whatever.
If they had come in
When they-
during the invasion.
right away.
Yes.
Yeah, and then
Yes.
the invasion. I love the invasion. The invasion is like a lot of people would put this on this episode.
I
the
almost
invasion.
did.
Right, and I would have argued with you and thrown you right out of here.
That's why I didn't
But,
put it on. I
but,
know you love the invasion.
Yeah, I loved the invasion.
Fantastic.
I thought it was really cool, but it would have been even better than it was if the NWO had been there, and the NWO would have been better than they were if it had been there. It was
Agreed.
just a timing thing. It could have been really cool, but it was like no NWO
Too late to
for
the party.
months and months and months. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. It was
Yep.
like the Sunny porn video. Too much, too late.
Actually, yeah, you're right. Exactly. Yeah, I can't even finish that.
Right. Like, you have a better, easier time finishing to the NWO.
Or Vince talking about the NWO.
Me and the NWO.
I'm gonna inject.
I'm gonna inject the poison. Oh, it feels so good.
It sounds like a Lars Sullivan video.
Also, there was the fact that
Took it like a man, didn't I?
plus the fact that Booker T, Big Show, and X-Pac part of the NWO that didn't work over.
Also
well.
Virgil.
There you go.
Okay,
There you go.
Okay, maybe the one successes that came out of it, aside from just the timing of No Way Out NWO layover in the text, was a next revamping of Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, you did get that.
Yeah, but that's more of a Shawn Michaels success rather than an NWO plan that ended up working.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
Shannon just spilled wine all over herself.
Dude. She must be so embarrassed.
It's just like poured out of the glass all over her hand, and she wiped her hand over her pants.
Careful.
Well, yeah, she filled the wine glass at the top because she's classy.
I'm so proud.
Don't like that. 'Cause I'm classy.
All right. Okay, what do we have after that?
Oh, one more before the big one that we're going to talk about from 2012. This is all about Tout.
Oh, yeah, remember Tout?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and remember like WWE put like $5 million into it?
Yes.
They put like a bunch of fucking money into Tout. And
They
then,
really
like,
tried to make it work.
yeah, and they were showing those dumb touts.
Horrible.
Yeah, it was terrible. And
You could tell it was being forced.
yeah,
Yes.
because they put money into it.
It was really being rammed down our throats, and it felt so rushed and pushed and just
Yeah, and they've done a much
Garbage.
better. It's sort of like they do a tap out now, but tap out at least like was an established thing. That they
First
got
off,
into.
really quickly, just to fulfill the rule of three, for some reason Shannon flipped off both Scott and Eddie. And what the hell? Okay,
What did I
thank
do?
you. I don't care, but no, just to fill the rule of threes. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll flip you off anytime, baby.
Yeah, and they were showing those weird touts, and like Stephanie's doing like conferences carrying on like, tout, and like nobody even knows what. If you're not old enough, you might not even remember tout at this point.
No,
listening to the show,
you blinked and you missed it.
right?
Or you started watching after it happened. Like it was there. I think it lasted shorter amount of time than WWF radio. I don't even know that it went 6 months.
yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, it was like, here today, gone tomorrow.
Yeah. Here today, gone today.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
World record.
Yep.
There we go. All right. That brings us to the start of the show. So specifically, we are going to talk about the 2001 edition of the XFL.
I'm glad you clarified.
Yes. This is the 2001 version for obvious reasons, and maybe some arguable elements about the current one. I think we agreed that because of the circumstances surrounding all sports leagues right now, and because it wasn't really the XFL within the foundation that caused it to close, we're saying that is not a Vince failure, but the 2001 season was.
But it's fair to say the XFL can't catch a fucking break.
Yeah, what bad
Yeah.
fucking luck,
Damn.
dude.
Man.
Again with the timing. Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, just Jesus Christ. It's halfway through the season and it's shut down, and it's like
Yes.
you said, you can't blame Vince or failure or anything.
No, this is a
Everything's shut down right
pandemic.
now.
Who would have predicted that?
Yeah, I don't know if we haven't said this up front, but like we're recording this on March 13th.
Yes.
So I don't know when I'm going to upload this, so you might be hearing this far after. But as of right now, like everything is shut down. The XFL shut down. And yeah, exactly. Like what bad luck. Like the mistakes they made the first time around, they've learned from. They didn't do any of the shit that they did wrong the first time.
Yes.
All I've heard from people who watch it are good things. Like
Right.
I'm not a football fan per se.
Neither am I.
But it's even.
But
But
I
I've
am,
even.
and it's great.
Yeah,
there you go.
For the quality of football players that they were actually able to obtain. Again, understanding that there's a reason why these are the players that are not in the NFL, they're playing XFL, but still a much, much better foundation compared to the last one. Just the first one had more concentration on the entertainment part of it without focusing on the product itself. This one did allow more focus on the product itself, and thought that it was a better execution.
Right, but let's talk about the first one because that's the one that is.
That's
a
the
failure.
one that's part of.
So
that's why it's on this episode.
So I thought, even at the time, I thought they were making a big mistake by attacking the NFL.
Yes.
Right, 'cause
100%. But
they-
that was Vince's balls.
It was Vince being a crazy ass.
Yes.
And there was no reason for it because they were not competition because they were in a totally different part of the year.
Way different,
There
yes.
was no reason you have to say you're better than them because you're not competing.
Right.
But they were like, fuck the NFL. The NFL is for pussies.
Yep.
They're the no fun league.
Mm-hmm.
We're the badasses.
Yeah.
Big fuck up right away. So right away you got people rooting against you.
Yes.
You've got the media rooting against you. You're fucking yourself.
Yes.
This had to be like Vince's biggest miscalculation ever.
Oh, it was huge.
Just in that alone is like
Were you trying to be a heel?
Yeah.
promotion and, like, get people
real
on
life heel
board?
towards the NFL.
Yeah,
think-
exactly. Like
I-
you had your Super Bowl commercial with WWE.
Yeah,
and now
which
you're
was great.
walking in trying to be an asshole and compete with the NFL. Like, why did you didn't need to do that? You honestly thought in your first season you were going to be some sort of competition. And to your point about them righting that wrong, this time around it was like, hey, football's over. What should we watch? How about more football? They just kind of piggybacked onto the NFL season. It was very, very smart and was a huge counter to what they did in 2001.
They treated it this time around the way they treated wrestling in the 80s where they didn't even acknowledge the competition.
Right.
Like they were
Yes.
the only game in town,
Yes.
which is a way smarter move because like not that anyone's going to fall for that, back in the 80s, if you only had access to WWE, you might have only thought that was the only thing.
Right.
But everybody knows there's the NFL, but why acknowledge them? Because don't compare yourself to them, because you're probably not going to be as good. Nobody expects you to be as good, and you don't have to be as good. So why put the spotlight on that? And in 2001, that's what they did, and it was a big fuck up. Big fuck up. They also, if you go back, I think someone on YouTube, if you go back and watch the commercials for it, they made you think that it was going to be a bloodbath. Like, you thought it was going to be guys were going to be, like, bleeding and...
Right.
Like, they were showing explosions on the field.
So, to build on that, another thing that I highly, highly recommend is to watch the ESPN 30 for 30
Absolutely.
on the XFL.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, my goodness. It's so damn good.
Yeah. And it gives you some insight as to how it failed, too.
Yeah, but, I mean, you could also see, like, just the marketing aspects. Yes, NBC is one of the, like, of course... The relationship that Dick Ebersol has with Vince McMahon and
Well, he's dead, but he had.
Yeah, but
R.I.P. Dick.
But yeah, just NBC writing on the success of having the NFL on it as well as NBA on NBC, which 90s kids, you know that the NBA on NBC is so much better than on ABC or what they call ESPN on ABC now. I would back that up, even though sports have definitely evolved since then, but just the marketing aspects of it, like the graphics were all high tech. They had the network backing it. Even because of their relationship, they allowed a lot of innovations, which are the minimal ones that are still used today in the NFL, with like the Sky Cam and
totally.
The bouncing cameras running onto the field, or in field action.
They did have a long-term influence on the way the NFL presents itself. For sure. You can watch the NFL now and see that XFL.
Those were XFL elements to it.
Yeah,
and I mean that
they did. I guess in a way you could say that they did change football.
Sure.
Yeah, just not for themselves.
Yeah,
it did them no good.
Maybe the X didn't stand for extreme. It stand for experimental football league, not just for the game itself, but for production elements.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like marketing 101, where your company tries to pay top dollars so that you can have your product at eye level instead of at knee level. Just trying to treat this as like this is real football. In the No Fun League, they play for paychecks. Actually, a current belief that I currently have right now, but where they do play for paychecks and not to playing with passion. But again, you're trying to market this as the real football league. These are the players that play to win instead of for the paychecks. Yeah, just one problem. There's a reason why these players are available. They're not on the NFL because they suck. But you are still trying to advertise them as extreme or as better as they supposedly are, which is like, those tanks, those explosions, and all those commercials, and all the scandalous cheerleader commercials like the XFL cheers, which, by the way, not cheerleaders. Those were dancers. But yeah.
Did you know that I went to high school with one of the original Demons cheerleaders?
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
have to. So I went to the Demons inaugural game.
Okay.
And they sold a program at it, like they would sell at like WrestleMania, and it had profiles on all the cheerleaders. And one of the cheerleaders, she went to Arroyo. You also went to Arroyo.
I did.
Actually, you might have gone, dude. She might have. I should see if I can find it.
What's her name?
I don't remember, dude. I have to find. She's a blonde chick.
Okay.
I'd have to find the magazine.
Amy Derrick.
I don't know. Miss Bo.
Miss Bo.
But she was like several years older than me. Like, oh, you know what, dude? She might have. Yeah, you might have gone to school with her because she might have been a year behind you because I think she was a senior my first year. So like we were like that far apart.
Oh,
in high
okay.
school.
She would have been like 1 year behind you.
She would have been like a year behind you. So she would have been a junior the year you graduated. So I think we both went to high school with the Demons cheerleader.
Okay. I don't know if that really qualifies as like knowing somebody famous, but that's still cool.
Yeah, and like since we both went with her, it's almost sort of like an Eiffel Tower type situation.
It almost is, yes.
Yeah.
Almost put her on the spit roast.
Maybe I'll find her so we can maybe find her on Facebook. So.
Let's do that later, yes.
Yeah. But you're right. It influenced a lot of things, but it was ultimately a big failure.
Oh, it was huge, and people still talk about it today.
Yeah, and they made mistakes, like the way they marketed it. There was also a lot of bad luck, like how they had the first televised game. They switched games last minute, and the game they aired was like a shitty game. And the game that they didn't air was like an awesome game.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's just bad luck.
All right. So fun statistics about those games. So the one that they ended up where Vince McMahon introduced the league, and also kind of makes sense with like all the media surrounding how they were going to bring it up. Like, oh, you'll see, this will be good. Do you have a plan? Like, no, but you just got to trust us. Vince McMahon goes on the field and introduces the XFL in the 30 for 30 production. They said, don't go on the field, otherwise you become a character, and this is established as entertainment than football. Goes on the field. It's like, he's on the field. Okay, let's do this. And so now they have to treat the entire league as entertainment rather than a sports league.
Yeah,
and
the
then
characters all of a sudden.
And then you see this domino effect where Jesse Ventura had an argument or a supposed storyline with one of the coaches. I remember that because the cameras and the commentators on the field would get they would be running to each of the players, getting the coaches, like taking you to places we've never been before, like right in the coach's face right after a successful play or a failing play. What were you thinking? Jesse Body says this and this. It's like, well, he's the commentator and I'm the coach. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, really? You don't want to... I know it's like the start of reality TV back in 2001, but that's not going to go over with a football coach that wants to just do football.
Busy.
Yeah, exactly.
You could kind of see what they were going for with the reality. That's
and you're right.
Point.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, treating this as like a more extended season.
Yeah,
because in 2001, reality TV was still kind of a growing brand. Yeah, right.
Survivor,
so right.
But
Big Brother. Yeah,
it's just another way that they were really innovative.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and I think a couple of the mistakes they made also were like, The Rock was there for opening game, right?
Yes.
Jim Ross was a commentator,
and
King was a commentator, which King is not a guy to have call a football game. Jim Ross, I'm sure, could do a fine job.
Yeah.
But not the King. So I think they should have separated themselves from WWE a little more. Same as they did with the WBF, even though the WBF would have never worked.
There was no way that was going to work.
But they could have put, so like now they're doing that. They don't have any wrestling personalities whatsoever
It's
involved.
two separate entities.
Yeah,
entirely.
and that's the way it should have been done in the
yeah.
first place. And that's definitely, like I said, one of the lessons they learned for the first time.
For sure. But they just can't catch a fucking break.
I mean, who could have predicted coronavirus? You know, okay, so since we're on the Vince Failures episode, I started thinking about this earlier, right? Adam, I don't know if you could look this up. I don't know how long it would take you to find this out, but how much money did Vince McMahon put into this version of the XFL? Ooh. It was huge money. Remember, he first of all, well, here's a failure of his. He cashed out a huge amount of stock, WWE stock, right? And like 6 months later, that stock doubled, right?
Oh.
So he could have cashed out if he'd waited 6 months, which
Yeah.
I know he couldn't because he was on a timeline, but
Yeah.
that's fucking gotta hurt.
That sucks,
Right?
dude.
And
yeah.
I've like, you know me right now, I have some money in the market that I've been dicking around with, and
Yeah.
it can be frustrating at times.
Right. Good thing he didn't pull that money out for Linda.
Yeah, right.
And then it loses. He might have to beat her.
Right. But you know, I moved all my money into airline stocks this week. I should have moved it into fucking toilet paper stocks.
And hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
Damn it. Sad.
But anyway, so he cashed out a huge amount of money
Yep.
to put into this. And timing wise, that was a big failure, but you can only predict so much.
Right.
So I started thinking about this week. So coronavirus is shutting everything down, right? But like Major League Baseball's gonna be fine, the NHL's gonna be fine. Say the XFL gets hurt so badly by this being their first season that they go out of business, right?
Yep.
Which is like, I don't think it's going to happen. I know they have a TV deal for 2 years, and I know that Vince is the sole owner of it. Mm-hmm. So he's the only person that can pull the plug. But like, it's not out of the question. It could happen. If the XFL were to shut down because of this, Vince McMahon literally could be the biggest money loser in the country.
He could.
Over this, right? Because I want to say it was like $250 million, like $250 million or something, some crazy ass amount of money. And
I'm trying to find exact numbers on here. There's so many things that are conflicting. Some are saying 35 million, some are saying 70 million, but
no, I swear it's a couple hundred.
Yeah, it definitely feels like
It's
it.
a huge amount of money. But
Some of them
whatever-
are saying like 500 million, but I don't know if that means the
That's like
original,
the
the
WWE's
original league
emergency
or
fund.
the current one.
Yeah, but it's his
due to
own.
inflation.
It's his own personal money. He cashed out his own
Yeah.
company stock that he owns.
That's a huge amount.
Yeah, and put it all into that, and it could all be just gone. Like all their money could be gone if the XFL goes out of business because of this. And like I'm saying, I don't think it will, but it's not out of the question. I think people like it enough. I think it has enough of an audience that it's going to come back next season.
Yeah.
But if not, he literally could lose more money in this fiasco than anyone else in the country.
But if you had to find kind of a silver lining to all of this, at least he didn't build his own rocket.
That's true. That's a good point. Right. Yeah.
There's also within the XFL, just timing wise, with the quality of football that was available. So you just mentioned that they had that. They switched games, and there was a big shutout in what was supposed to be the debut game. Also, the fun thing was that they had a scramble instead of a coin toss. In the second game on that opening night, guy
Fucked himself up.
fucks himself up, out for the season. So there goes.
It's a bad look.
Yeah.
Yeah, right for right off the bat. I mean, yeah, we get that you're trying to be the more extreme football league. So yeah, just financially did not work. Entertainment injected into a game where football is trying to be the focus, but the added obstacle of having to be entertaining also not working, and also your changes to the game to make it more aggressive. Day one, play one. Actually, no, this is coin toss. Negative play one.
Yeah.
Not even working.
Right.
Yeah. And then, yeah, also the failed go into the cheerleaders' locker room sketch. That didn't.
I don't know if you
Yeah.
can call that a failure. I saw half naked cheerleaders. That's a success in my mind.
But another WWE element that they shoehorned into the XFL.
True. Yeah.
I
I mean,
mean,
it
the
didn't
whole
help.
puppies era. No, it didn't.
yeah.
Oh,
Definitely did not.
Yeah.
Trying to watch football with your family, and here they are walking to the cheerleaders' locker room.
Titties.
The dads are like,
but I
yeah.
guess just the way that they advertise it, I guess it's more play on words. We're going to go into the cheerleaders' locker room thinking that you're going to get a live look in, but yeah, it turns out to be a sketch. Like,
Right.
yeah, that was probably like Final Needle. You are obviously entertainment, not real football.
Right,
Even
you're a
within
joke.
even within the OWN network on the weekend of the $1 Million Championship game, Conan O'Brien was had a lengthy sketch, which is actually pretty hilarious, just bashing the lack of fans and lack of interest of XFL.
Damn.
Well, I think we pretty much covered XFL.
Yeah. Pretty
Adam
heavily.
spoke very passionately
Yeah.
about it.
Because
Yeah. And that's a view from a
Sports.
football fan. So
Yes.
that's
Yes.
But so yeah, I guess just with any, again, want to hear all of your takes. Were there any Vince failures that we missed? Feel free to let us know again on all of the social media platforms. Just a good suggestion: if you do come away with any good sums of money, don't start a football league, or at least. I think best investment if you are going to do football league, just keep it fantasy.
or buy a Drunk Wrestling History t-shirt.
Or yes,
Yeah, that's what everyone should do with their money.
available on What a Maneuver.
Thank you.
Yeah. So once again, just want to thank you very much for listening to Incoherent Guys trying to be funny, and God damn it, we do try. Eyes face, but. On behalf of Scott and Eddie, I'm your designated host, Adam. Just want to remind you all to please enjoy your buzz, watch wrestling and football on all the classic channels right now because there are no sports, and all the internet resources that you have. Watch those responsibly and drink like nobody is watching. Yeah, I think that takes care of it. 1, 2, 3. To failure!
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah.